Hello everybody, my name is Player and welcome to 6 Days of Snow. I'm not really sure if you can call this a game because it doesn't have any thing for you to do. All you're doing is reading text. But it, I guess, somewhat is classified as game. It's classified as a text-based game. And it goes by a story. And it's really messed up. And you'll see what I mean. But I have played through it from beginning to end a long time ago. And I'm not really sure what to do again. But it's kind of like missed messages where it kind of just tells a story that you kind of have to listen to. Because it has some stuff that you don't want to think about, but it's a good thing to think about them. And once you're done thinking about it, you're like, yeah, I'm glad that this game has told me to think about this because I've learned something about myself that I didn't think I would ever learn. Because I didn't know you had it in you. I had a message at the start of this. Dear Eli, don't worry about me, and some other stuff, and it has to do with Eli, which is the guy you're playing, and it was from his wife. So, that's kind of what you need to think about while you're playing this game. It was a dark night, and the snow was falling thick and heavy beyond the windows of the car. I think it's pure white, like a saucer of milk had been appended over the earth. It looked pretty. Nice. It did when observed within the confines of the taxi, but I felt a surge of sympathy for whoever might be outside such a night. I'd be dead if I was up there. And it's just, yeah, it's like snow, but like, in college, it snowed in college a lot, and it was so cold. I think we even had to cancel classes once because of how cold it was during the snow. Snow can be unforgiving, especially on a mountain like this. Why else would there be so many stories about strange, pale-skinned women that lure unsuspecting men to their icy graves? In a remote place like this, how long would it take before anybody uncovered your corpse? A day? 2 days? A whole week? Perhaps a month? Being a writer, I can't help but ponder such morbid things. Though I admit, crime fiction has never been my forte. It always had been my belief that there is enough unpleasantness in real life. We hardly need to fabricate anymore. Shako says that that's because I'm sentimental. But that's one of my better qualities. Shako says sentiment manifests itself in my eyes. I have unusually pale eyes. My wife has quite a way of words. I sometimes think her talents are wasted as a wife and mother, and she might have an untapped acumen for storytelling. She's certainly good at gossiping with other women who attend our classes with her every Wednesday. Chuck, however, always blushes and shakes her head whenever I suggest this, even as it's a joke. So she's more than happy looking after me and our two sons, searching for any greater purpose in life would be presumptuous. I appreciate it, I suppose. I wouldn't mind if she had a touch more ambition beyond preparing the perfect bowl of miso soup in the mornings. None of Sako's miso soup is anything to be sneezed at. That was one of the things I was going to miss most. I thought as the car drove through the night. Sako's miso soup. The miso soup at the AMZ Inn would be perfectly fine, I was sure, but it wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be Shako's. His mind's not awfully prosaic. But when food has been prepared by the hands of a woman who loves you and has loved you for 25 years, it acquires special properties you can't find anywhere else. Maybe that's the best definition of marital bliss. Being able to enjoy breakfast together every morning with a small, sure smile, so not having all that much to talk about. It's a comfortable, humdrum kind of existence, I suppose. But the further I ascended into the mountains, the more I began to slip away. Each and every mile I covered, the further away my band of life with Shako seemed. Soon, the small details, the taste of our miso soup, the pursuit of rigorous watering of our much beloved bongivals, and the pervading smell of soap began to slip away. I must confess, I was awfully sorry to be saying farewell to any of it. It wasn't that I didn't care for Shako, because I did. I still do. We had fallen into a rut, that was all. We had grown too accustomed to one another, and perhaps I was taking Shako and miso soup for granted. It's hard to appreciate somebody when you see them every single day, and you recite the same pleasantries to them, and pay the same pleasantries back. It's too predictable. Be like playing Shogai while being able to read your opponent's moves 5 turns in advance. Where's the fun in that? To put it another way, our daily routine had become far too familiar, to the extent that it was almost painful. I was trying to run away from Sako, I told myself. That wasn't it. I just need to change of pace. I wanted to remind myself how much my wife meant to me. I wanted to remind myself why I loved her. I was journeying away from my wife so I could learn to miss her again, which would hopefully make our eventual reunion all the more sweeter. After giving it some thought, I decided upon a perfect location wherein I could reunite on my marriage. That would be the snow-capped mountains in Hakuba, more than half an hour away from human civilization. You know, people, they was the end to summer solitude, just the snow and the stars. And that was fine by me. The young boy drove the taxi cab, hummed under his breath a song I did not know, and tapped his fingers against the wheel. "We're almost there," he said, and turned to me and smiled. The lights obscured much of his face, but I could see the reassuring gap-toothed grin. Ooh! Gap-toothed grin. You gotta think of how to do his voice, cause... Oh yeah, I think I got it. One of his front teeth was missing. I thought it was rude to ask why, so I didn't comment, but I couldn't stop myself from propagating stories. "How far is it now?" I asked him, hugging my trunk a little closer to my chest. She had helped me pack before my departure. I told her she needn't have bothered, but she was insistent. Despite being such a quiet, retiring woman, Shako can be awfully insistent about the most mundane of things. "Not so far now," said the boy. The boy might be such a meaning. He must have been in his early 20s. 3 or 4 minutes, maybe 5, kind of traffic. That was probably supposed to be a joke. We had passed the same car during the journey from the train station. I must admit, I was a bit relieved. The road was so poorly lit, and any oncoming cars would have spelled disaster. "It sounds like you need to get there in a hurry, Fifth," asked the boy. "What are you doing up near Huckleberry, if you don't mind me asking?" "Oh, I don't mind now, I suppose. A writer. I thought going somewhere remote would let me focus, share me a few ideas, that kind of thing." "Whew, an offer." He whistled and sounded genuinely impressed. Within anything I know? Oh, I doubt it. I'm not well known by any means, but I make enough to pay the bills. For more than that, I thought. I'm not so well live, but that sounds like a success story to me. I hear who wants to be an office makes so much of a pain. Yes, I suppose so, I said, running a hand through my hair. Sometimes I forget I have a lot to be thankful for. What kind of things for your wife? The articles? Journalism? Some poetry, or at least a novel a couple of years ago, too. "A novel, is it?" he said, and whistled again. "Now that is fancy. I could be surveying around in the next... Ogiamori? Oh, I doubt I'd ever reach such levels of fame. I just dabble, really. Well, how do you include me in the next necessary effort, Mr. Tanabe Eli? All right, Mr. Tanabe, I'll remember that." And he nodded his head determinedly, like a chicken pecking up words. What? Words. That was a crucial simile. cruel simile. No, and I chased myself for thinking such a thing. I just don't know. I realized that spending so much of my life inside the city, but I could be quite a snob. That's the reason I told myself why going to the countryside would be good. It was always useful to see new sights and broaden my horizons. Open my mind. The moon ahead, shining in the peaks of the sky like a pearl, split those swirling fog and snow with pale rays of light. In the dark, the moonlight looked lethal. Ethereal. It was kind of the moon so perfectly round and full that could drive one to madness. Back to me and I felt with him, the driver with his distinct deep-toothed smile. I found myself thinking that maybe I would. It wasn't a character that was easy to forget. The teeth helped. I'm Henadai Yuthuk. I'm happy to meet you. Oh no, the pleasure's all mine. I demurred. And the young choice driver, a Thuk Tithud. Yusuk tittered. Incredible. A right thing is the pleasure make my acquaintance? I never thought I'd live to see the day. Oh my god, okay. He sounded so bemused by the idea. I smiled. No. If you want something interesting, if you want something interesting about the next level, of course, there's the best thing at the end of the end, said Yusuk companionably after a lull in the conversation. It's beautiful around there. Not that I have much to deny for it. Still, all the snow on the hills and the quaint little building in the middle of nowhere, very pretty. Yes, it sounds delightful. Well, too, I think, but that's to built you down to the ground for a bit of peace and quiet helps stimulate the imagination, right? That's the general idea. All the noise in the big city can be a bit... I'm sure a correct word, but I couldn't find it. Chaotic. Maybe that had been sold by the snow. Oh, I can imagine, said Yusuk, sensing my discomfort. I've been here all my life, but still, the big city? The big city indeed. I'd like to go there once or twice just to look around, but I don't think I could have felt somewhere like that. From what I've heard, there are too many buildings and far too many people. I feel quiet, though. I'd get a bit angsty if I had to say they would be in so long. I don't know how Miss Kakuzi does it. Who? I know some place before, but I don't even know who that is. I don't remember who that is. The proprietress? The one and the same, said Yusuk with a nod. He's been living up there for gosh, I don't know how long. Maybe longer than I've been alive, because as long as there's been an at the end, there's been a Miss Kakichi. He's the one without him, so maybe he wasn't too lonely before, but he's dead now, like years ago. If you want to ask about it, I certainly won't mind. I love that you're so intrigued. That you say? Tell me more. I just need to grow inside my head just like I can sprout into proud oak trees. What happened to Mr. Kakuchi? I asked as casually as I could muster, but my efforts were probably in vain. Probably not death. I already told you I was a writer. People never trust writers. Unless they shouldn't. We crowd around mystery like vultures and pick the bones clean until there's nothing left. Yusuk didn't seem to be the most intelligent people. I was so sharp, but people was so sharp enough. But because he grinned, it was a wolfish grin, all too fitting for a large pearly moon. Ah, so you went through West, are you, Mr. Tembi? He asked. It is an interesting story. I can't help myself. And rather well known too. There are all kinds of stories about the end. I said, and Miss Kakichi, not all of them are pleasant. I don't believe half of them, but they're very interesting. I should let you know before you continue that I don't write crime stories. Haha, well, more's the pity, said Yusuk with a stroke. When you get to a pretty young When you get a pretty young woman and that husband, there are bound to be rumors, but the truth is a lot simpler. He's old. Mr. Kikuchi was a good 2 decades older than his wife. And, you know, when you're older, you live up the mountains, they tell you catch the cold at some point. You won't be able to fend off. So he died just like that? Just like that. But that's like a Mac. All things considered. But people love talking. You can't stop them talking even in a place like this. Shug smiled. I'm talking to myself. My fiance, Hatsumi, always betrays me. Still, so you can't hate it that much, or she would have agreed to marry me. You have fiance? Congratulations! Yeah, go! Taxi man, I forgot your name. Yasuke! Go Yasuke! Okay. Yasuke thanked me, smiling sheepishly. Honestly, I feel a bit sorry for Mr. Kikuchi, I think he said. Or is it me? Remember me. She must be awfully lonely up there with her husband and the residents of Hagishikawa. Aren't too keen on her either. Does she have anybody else? Said Dollar, sweet little thing, Rico. Miss Kikuchi has always been very protective. And no wonder, after what happened to her husband? Rico. I nod my head. And would have to file this away for further reference. Doesn't she have any staff? Oh, she employs a few girls. My husband Umi was one of them, but it's a small business, doesn't get many customers, you see. I see, I said, and I did see. I went to the window and could see the hills covered with snow, yet more snow falling. I saw only too clearly. I couldn't imagine many people coming to the MZ, and not even those who were passionate about skiing. There were places to stay that were closer to the main roads where you didn't have to have a taxi and wend your way through the mountains for half an hour to reach your destination. If she were here, I knew what she would say. No, this was very sensible. Still, as I wasn't sensible man, but a sensitive one, this kind of location would, as your Suk has said, shoot me down to the ground. Oh, who are you? Why you look like, okay, so, you know that, Harry Potter game, Hogwarts Mysteries? And you know Mr. Snape? That's what you look like. You just, Mr. just looks all, like all chill and laid back, and you look exactly like that. Are you his daughter? Are you his daughter? I apologize for arriving so late. My train was delayed. It's quite alright. I expected as much given all the snow. My pursuit was Miss Kakichi replied. I don't receive any customers no matter how late they may arrive. So, are you Miss Kakichi? Cause if you are, I'm not gonna remember that. So, I'm gonna call you Mrs. Snape's daughter. If you don't have a better name for me to call you, I'm gonna call you Mrs. Snape's daughter. Just letting you know that right now. Mrs. has been slow? What do you expect? She asked with a touch of weary music to her tone. Her voice is soft, but there's a certain bite to it, some hardness. So it was pinned down. Her sense of hardness was only to be expected coming from a woman who had lived in this inn high up in the mountains for so very long. It was softer, I wondered. Had she been softer, I wondered, her husband was still alive? I'll never know. Why you don't smile? Let me take a good look at you, scanning you from up to down, down up. Hi. Now Miss Kakichi. How can I describe her? Brunette. Shoulder-length hair. The offspring of Mr. Snape. Words failed me at the time, and they fail me even now. I suppose, if I had to put a single word to it, she was beautiful. But that was entirely right. Alright, I'm a jackass. Nice. She was the kind of woman who had been beautiful once, beautiful enough to drive men to distraction, but old age had tempered some of her beauty, softening the edges so it no longer had an acute, piercing effect. That was a good thing, I think. Street could be used as a weapon, like an arrow. But this was an arrow whose tip had been sanded smooth. Her hair was dark and glossy, cut into a neat bob, reminiscent of a kokishi doll. It was an unusual choice for an old woman. She must have been in her 40s, but that only served to heighten my interest in her. Her eyes were the color of roasted tea leaves, and they were lined with thick lashes. When she blinked, her lashes flared in a beguiling manner that cast shadows against her face. Her skin was pale. Kind of. She's got a little bit of redness right there. And thought there were some wrinkles around her mouth. Not really. It was unblemished, save for 2 small moles, no bigger than pinheads beneath her right eye. Boop. Boop. She wore her modest kimono of muddied colors and stood there regularly, her hands held at her front. If looked at from afar, one could have been forgiven for thinking she was 10 or 20 years younger than she really is. But time waits for no man. At any rate, Miss Kikuchi didn't seem to be the kind of person who stuffed herself in her own nostalgia. Everything about her, from her tone of voice to the way she stood, suggested she was far too sensible to bother with such nonsense. She wasn't sentimental. Something about her posture almost seemed to defy sentiment. She wasn't like me. So we were quite a poor match. That's fine. You have a wife. In any event, I hope you enjoy your stay at the... Oh. In any event, I hope you enjoy your stay at the inn, said Miss Kakichi. It was a line she must have delivered many times. She said it beautifully, like a skilled artisan might pluck a heart-rending melody from a koto. I must confess, I felt rather abashed. I've been mentioning my city-born and bred hubris of the folk who reside in the countryside were simpler than I... Somehow, I've been wrong. I'm Kakichi Keio, she said by means of making my acquaintance, though there was a certain resentment to tone. It's nice to meet you. Likewise, I said bowing my head. My name is Tambi Eli. Mrs. Tambi, Miss Kakichi, Mr. Sauter repeated with a small nod of her head. When my name come in place, though its properties seemed to change in some curious manner. European alchemists might have striven for years to turn base metals into gold, but Mr. Sauter has seen in a certain kind of thaumaturgy of her own. Well, if I need to introduce myself further, I've been raising a museum for some 14 years, ever since the death of my husband. I'm sure Yosuke has told you about that already. You're so sad. He might have mentioned a thing or two, yes. Nothing hasn't told me the whole story, you know, it's not that interesting. You don't need to spare my feelings. I know what the people around here say. They enjoy their gossip. There's not much else to gossip about. I don't think Mr. Hanaba meant anything by it. He was just making conversation. At my expense of my dignity, I don't doubt, said Miss Sauter icily. No, Yosuke hadn't said anything incriminating. I found myself feeling guilty as I had conspired against her. Let's move on from the subject, she said, noticing my discomfort is unpleasant, particularly after such a long journey now. Mr. Sauter explained the general running of the inn to me. When meals were prepared, where the hot springs were, who speak to? But a complaint. With a complaint. While nod dumbly, stunned silence. So, she said, once she had finished her short business spell, I trust this is satisfactory? That is more than satisfactory, thank you, I said, stuttering. Stuttering too. Why was it stuttering? I don't know, I do it all the time. Being around Snape's daughter held her the steady gaze of her dark brown eyes had the most incredible effect upon me. I felt not like a grown man with 2 sons, but a naughty child. I'm a naughty child. Being scolded by my father for playing too zealously about the Zelkova tree in our garden. Jesus. My sister's daughter was probably a few years younger than I, but she regarded me archly like one who had seen far more than I could ever imagine. I know it might sound rather harsh, but I understood immediately why the residents of the nearby village didn't like her very much. She's not a likable woman. I should get Rico to show you to your room. She may as well make herself useful, said Mrs. Snape's daughter. As the declaration probably turned her blonde hair fluttering and called out in tones that would have made an emperor balk. Rico! We have a customer! There was shuffling of the feet as Rico hastened to answer her mother's call. Oh my god. I pictured her skinny uncomfortably. I pictured her skinny. Uncomfortably so, with big eyes and lips pulled into a permanent frown. Her head bent, and her gait stumbling. But the Rico who answered their Snape's daughter's summons was rather different. My imagination had betrayed me yet again. You get close with Rico too. Hurrah! Scan you. Down, up. Oh, hi. Well, the big guys were right. She just kind of have a frown. I don't know what else you said in your description of what you thought you saw, but you know what? Close enough. Close to you. She was rather young. That much true. Still a teenager, I suppose. And she was slight? What? But not in an awkward manner. Her limbs were pale and slender, like Slender Man, and she moved like a little ballerina. Yes, you called the mother. I gotta figure out a voice for her. Yes, you called mother? She looked just like Miss Snape's daughter did, or had done. Imagine before an old age had seen fit to sape away her youthful charms. It's Mr. Snape's daughter's daughter. Rico had even had a beauty mark beneath her eye. Right there. Noah was looking under her left, not her right. I guess like it's mirrored her. That's the way he's facing the way I'm facing. Then over your left. No, that is right. Yeah, but you said that would be your left. That would be your right. You said Mr. Snape's daughter was on her right, but it was on her left. What? But then the way she's facing, that would be her right. Still. Right? Well, if she's facing the same way you're facing, then that would be her left. So, are you going based off that? If she's facing the way you're facing, because she's not. If for some reason you're on the other side of her and she is actually switched around, in which case it shouldn't be mirrored. I don't know. Other than that, it was an almost perfect facsimile of her mother's, like she was some kind of copy. Homunculus child raised in a glass jar, but these thoughts were rather too fanciful. Facial. This is Mr. Tenby, said Mr. Snape's daughter, just turning towards me. He has recently arrived from Tokyo. Casing his bag and show him to his room. It's the one you were preparing earlier on the west side. Of course! Of course, said Rico with a small bow of her head. I should do it at once. She was picking up my bag, first brushing the sleeve of her kimono to one side. When... No, that will never do. Rico flinched at the reprimand. She was now halfway between retrieving my case and sitting straight, so the kimono were still rolled back. I could see her arms. There was pale snow that fell outside, shot through with delicate blue veins. Though I wanted to, I could not bring myself to look away. When you pick up luggage, Rico, you shouldn't let your sleeves bunch up about your elbows. It's unseemly, said Mr. Snape's daughter. Oh, you look so angry. Sorry. Don't apologize, said Mr. Snape's daughter coolly. But I've told you this time and time again. Try to remember next time, please. Alright. I sound so disappointed, and any words of reassurance I might have thought to offer died on my tongue. I divined during this most perfunctory of greetings that my mother scolded her quite a lie. She led me to my room in silence, my suitcase held in her arms. If the case was heavy for her, I did not know. She didn't slow down, neither did she seem hampered by her burden. Her footsteps were slow and regular, like that of clockwork. Hemmed in her kimono, she could only take short, dainty steps, right foot in front of the left, then left in front of the right, then repeat. Tap, tap, tap. Followed along behind her like an attentive schoolboy. The one hallway is dimly lit. I hear the sound of the wind whistling outside. My footsteps made the floor creak ominously. Try to think of things to say, but nothing sounded quite right. What? The weather's off around here, isn't it? Well, I've been too pedestrian. We really have beautiful eyes. Well, I've been far too forthcoming. Do I always like that? Well, it's personal. So I even made things that I once said I could say nothing. I didn't know why, but I once talked to this girl. It was pity because of the way she had flinched when her mother had spoken to her, and really she must have been lonely. If Yosuke suspected Miss Snape's daughter of melancholia, then what about her daughter? Rico's hair fluttered behind her inky black, like a veil in the darkness. But though she was small, Rico did not tarry in her march. Instead, she continued as quiet as a mirror and just as inscrutable. Tap, tap, tap. Even back then, I was enamored with her. Maybe it was the romance of the situation. How could you blame me? There's something very poetic about Rico's plight. An uncommon beauty hidden from prying eyes, lost amidst the ice and snow. Tap, tap, tap. In 20 seconds or so, though it seemed like longer, because you were talking so much, Rico's footsteps stopped. She halted by a nondescript wooden door, much like the others that lined the hallway. Your room, she said by means of explanation, not that me explaining. Then they are all the same and took my case from her outstretched hands. Here you go! Here's your bags! Our fingertips brushed for less than a second. What the If I'd been a younger boy, Kinjai's age, perhaps I fear I might have blushed. It's rather late and we don't normally start food this time, so we go using the floor rather than my face. But I'm sure the cook would be more than happy to prepare something for you. This has go a long way. It's alright, I replied, though it had been some 5 hours since I had last seen. I won't inconvenience you. But you're a guest, said Rico. It's how she did dust her head. Doesn't that give you the right to inconvenience us? Just a little? You're paying for the privilege. I blinked. Words once more were conspicuously absent. She's actually smiling. Hey, you actually smile! Nice. So she did not dislike me, and neither was she afraid. She couldn't have meant to joke with me so casually, for that was what it was. A joke. Can't stop myself from laughing. You're funny, haha. It was a small laugh, really, but then again, Rico's smile had been rather demure. A hearty chuckle wouldn't have suited the atmosphere. And I've never been one to laugh that much. I don't have self-humor. I'm too self-conscious. But Rico made me laugh all the same. My point, I said. Suppose I wouldn't mind some green tea. I need a bit of warming up. I know, it's Rico, with nods of her head. Can't be horribly cold around here. However, as Kotatsu. Of course, we live in the mountains, so it would not be a sin not to have Kokatsu. I guess might catch your deaths of cold, said, throwing her arms in the air for emphasis. I'm sorry, messing up her voice. I smiled. Well, with that, I didn't stay here that long. Only 6 days. The mountains were picturesque. I'm not fancying extending my trip. A most unfortunate side effect of death is that it tends to render people immobile, tied to one place for the rest of their, well, not lives. I don't blame you, said Rico seriously. I would stay here if I had a choice. But you don't. Small sigh. Oh well, I should say things like that. Well, across with me, she'd say it was bad for business. Things are stacked against us already, but what do I know? Seems quite knowledgeable in my humble opinion. Thank you, she said with a bow of her head. Her hair fluttered, caught in a sudden draught of icy air. I knew it was because of the wind, but seized by sentimentally, I couldn't help but imagine it was because she was so very full of life. Rico was livelier, but by far than she had been before. So conscious between her mere trampled lily persona and the new one I was witnessing, witty, funny, and unabashedly charming, caught me off guard. Could the caterpillar have emerged from its chrysalis in a scant 5 seconds? But no, such transformations do not take place so rapidly, not in the real world. I wondered, did Rico's newfound freeness have anything to do, perhaps, with the absence of her mother? Alright, I'll see you at that green tea, and perhaps less of a bowl of rice porridge. I think you should get something in your stomach. Look peaky. Don't look peaky? We pretended to ponder. Why you look so, questionable? One hand beneath her chin. Perhaps a bit tired. Long train journeys do that, especially at my age. I wonder if they've been on a train before, said Rico. Something wistful about her tone. Her eyes were misty and far away. She was so transparent, her thoughts flickered across the surface of my, like ripples in the pool. But then Rico shook her head and clapped her hands. The illusion was over. Right! Green tea, rice porridge. Please feel free to make yourself at home and discover the delights of the museum. Thank you for your hospitality, I said, bowing my head. I'd sense you. Oh, and it's been fine if you want to use the kotatsu, but make sure the fire the brazier has burnt down before you sleep. While you saw a fire. No, I said with a shake of my head, we won't want that. No, Rika repeated. But I couldn't but wonder. Sorry in her eyes, it swore, see flickering flames. She wants starfire. It was as good as her word. Ah! Hi! Why not scare me so? She returned to my room momentarily, the green tea and rice porridge on a tray. They're both piping hot. She did not linger, though I would have liked to converse with her further. That would have been improper. A woman should not tarry for so long in the man's private quarters, though Rika was not a woman, really so much as a girl. Does that make a difference? I wouldn't think that would make the difference. Riko's kimono flattered out her figure, making it nigh impossible to tell whether she had curves or not by her age's parents, by the tone of her voice and the softness of her skin. Not that such details improved the situation. If anything, it made it even worse. A woman in a man's room at night is improper enough, but a teenage girl? That is truly a source of scandal. Scandal in the eyes of the newspaper that was sensationalist romance transmuted by the hand of an author. It all depends on how you frame things. You frame them creepily. Okay. In any case, we could depart with that now familiar tap 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 of her wooden sandals against the tammy mats, and I was left alone. And happy. The green tea was delicious, the leaves brewed perfectly, and the rice porridge was thick and nourishing. I enjoyed the food a good deal, though not as much as Shako's. Shako knows exactly how my preferred tea. She can steep the leaves in perfect accordance to my preference. That's the last millisecond. Of course, Shako's tea would be superior, but I had been married to her for more than 20 years. 25 to be exact. And the most curious phenomenon, however, that meant accustomed to perfection, I gets tired of it. Is there anything more selfish than a man who cannot be satisfied? Still has to wonder. I look out the window, and she's right there. Riko is just standing there, staring at me. Hi, friend. It's still snowing outside. I would imagine so. It's probably winter by now. I can see the snow in the air falling thick and fast beyond my window. It's actually winter now. I think it's winter. The season, like in real life, right here in Charleston where I live, it is winter because it's December. Sight of it made it feel warmer than perhaps I was, for the room was cold and seemed to bleed heat from the tins and mat. It's fortunate to come to help. Warm, both inside and out. I'm tired from our journey. Shooting for night. Half an hour later. I think I might have dreamt about Riko. That's creepy. The second day. Do I click? Okay. And we're gonna stop it there. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you so much for want to see more of the 6 Days of Snow. So, as always, I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.